Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Natasha from Tashrael Fashion Academy, and in today's tutorial we're going to be learning how to draft a pencil skirt. So the first thing you want to do is to start with your basic skirt block. So you go ahead and draft your basic skirt block like I have done here, and you're going to be removing 5 inches from the width of the hem of your basic skirt block. Before I do that, I'm just going to go right ahead and label my pattern so you know exactly where I'll be removing this 5 inch in total from. So I'm going to label my side front and my side back. So start by taking in 1 inch from the center back and connecting it to knotting on the hip like so. That becomes a new line for the center back. And then you take 2 inch from the side back line, not the seam allowance but the side back line, and connect nothing on the hip line. Now you have to redraw your seam allowance after taking that 2 inch. So I'm just going to take 1 inch out of the 2 inch again and connect it back to my seam allowance. Then you repeat the same step, taking 2 inch from the side front line, take it in and connect to nothing on the hip line. Then you redraw your seam allowance back by taking out 1 inch and redrawing the same allowance line. To draw the allowance for the center back, because you must be wondering, you can either use half an inch or 1 centimeter or 1 inch. I mostly like to just use half an inch, but for the sake of just giving enough allowance, let's use 1 inch. So I'm just going to mark 1 inch on the hemline, 1 inch on the hip line, and 1 inch on the waistline, and connect these points together to create my seam allowance for the center back. The 5 inch reduction done at the hem width is done in a ratio 2:1, and it is not constant. Depending on how tight or how loose you want your skirt, you can reduce this 5 inch to 4 inch to 3 inch, and this can be done at any hem length of any skirt. So now I'm just going to show you how I cut my pattern. I only cut along the line that I need, which is the new lines I created for the pencil skirt. And then on the waistline, I only cut the true waistline, ignoring the old one that was there. And then when you get to the center front, just cut away the borderline, but note that when you're cutting your fabric for the front skirt, you're going to place your pattern on fold for the front, so there's no separation. You don't have a seam line going along the center of your skirt. After cutting your pattern, just go ahead and label the necessary points so that you know where you're notching when you're cutting your fabric, like the waist, the center of the waist, the hip point, the dart line where it ends, the skirt length where it ends, just in case you're going to be folding your hem up, and just label the necessary places. And that's it for the front pattern. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut my back pattern, repeating the same steps, making sure that I'm cutting along the new lines that I just drew, and at the center back as well, I'm cutting along the seam allowance line actually. And when you place your back pattern on your fabric, you don't necessarily have to cut on fold, but if you place it on fold just to cut at once, ensure to cut through at the back, because that's where you'll be putting your zipper, so you don't want that place joined, so you're going to cut through there. And then when you're done cutting your pattern, you just label it so you know where to notch, where the important points to note, and all for sewing marks. So now that I'm done cutting and labeling my pattern, I'm just going to put it side by side so you see this pattern clearly. I usually recommend that you only do a 5 inch reduction when the skirt is longer than the knee length. So I mostly use this for midi skirt. And when the skirt is longer, I increase the 5 inch by maybe even 5 more, making it 10. So this is what your pattern should look like when you're done. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and kindly give me a thumbs up and leave a comment if you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.